Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. So, I'm not ready to do the picks for week 3 yet, but hopefully that will be up soon. But while I was watching one of the games the other day, they kept saying Tush Push over and over, Tush Push, Tush Push, Tush Push. And it was an Eagles game, so occasionally they would say brotherly shove, which I got a kick out of because I was like, that's because it's the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. And they called it the brotherly shove. And so this led me to sit there while I was watching the game and come up with names for all the teams' version of Tush Push. And I want to share that with you now. This is just silly. This is really just for fun. So please don't take it too seriously. It's funny because the first time I did a video last year, I think it was 1 year ago probably, on the language, what's the word for NFL football. And one of the things I said was tush push. And in the comments, some guy, because men, said, no one in the history of football has ever said tush push. And I was like, well, I've heard it for sure. Well, now you can't get away from it. So, all right. So let's start with the NFC North. I hurt my finger. I hope I can write. Okay. So in the North, we have the Chicago Bears. Now, some of these I've kind of already thought of, and some I haven't, and some I can't think of anything for, so I will request your help on those. But with Chicago, I have this map here in case we need to kind of get ideas. And they don't list Chicago on this map, which is funny. So I was thinking Windy City, but then I remembered they call it Second City because it was like this second biggest city for a long time. And so I was thinking Second City Slam. I thought that was pretty good. Okay, we got Detroit Lions, which, as a lot of you know, is where I grew up around Detroit. And they're the Motor City. So that one seemed pretty straightforward. The Motor City Rollover. I thought that was pretty good. And then in the NFC North, we've got the Green Bay Packers, which I did a video on one time too. I don't know how they'll feel about this, but I was thinking the Cheesehead Charge. I mean, okay, the Vikings, I got really stuck on the Vikings. They're, Minnesota. I kept thinking like Skull. I was trying to think because that's their chant is SKO Skull, so it's like a Vikings. But in the end, I was thinking they use a ram thing on the ships. I feel like Vikings do. But I just ended up with Viking Siege. Viking Siege. I think that'll be pretty good. Okay, so NFC South. So we've got the Atlanta Falcons. Hold on. I gotta get a drink of I feel like I'm about to start coughing. All right. No, I calmed it with my chocolate almond protein smoothie. Okay. So we have Atlanta, which is in Georgia. This one's a tough one. I mean, it's not. I sat there and thought Georgia Peach. So I'm going with Peach State Push, but I don't know about that. I don't know. Okay, and then there's Carolina. Whoops. Carolina was kind of stuck, but I just thought, well, they're both North and South Carolina. Kind of, that's what. So I thought maybe just like Southern Slam. Southern Slam. This is one I like. But, okay, we've got the New Orleans Saints. And I thought Bayou Blitz. But then I started to realize that blitz is a different kind of play. So I really like it, but blitz isn't probably the right word. And then like maybe Bayou, how about, because blitz is a different kind of play. How about Bayou Plunge? Bayou Plunge. Maybe. The only I know the problem with that is that I have for the Bucks, Tampa Bay, I had put Pirate Plunge, but then I also I said this in, I don't know, during the game. I was like, why don't they call it the Ahoy Matey? Let's do that. Let's go Ahoy Matey and the Bayou Plunge. I'm sure the Bucks are not gonna like Ahoy Matey. Ahoy Matey. Okay, NFC North. By the way, NFL. Feel free to use them. Just give me credit. No. Okay. Oh no, we already did North. Whoops. North, South, East. Sorry. Okay. We've got Dallas Cowboys. And there's probably a lot for the Cowboys. I was thinking, like, oh, you could do lasso. Wait a minute. Let me rethink. Because I had thought Lone Star Lunge. But now that I see this cowboy with his horse and his lasso, the rodeo roundup, the lasso. Lasso is more of a pull than a push. So what I had taken a note of is Lone Star Lunge. This is what I do instead of actually watching football. But maybe I feel like there's a cowboy thing here. I'm not sure. Okay. We'll think on that. That'll be in the back of my mind while I'm doing this. Who else do we have? New York Giants. Okay. These New York teams, I don't know. I'm really having trouble with them because here's prior why. With both the Jets and the Giants, I don't know if they're really more like New Jersey or New York City. Like, what's the vibe? I don't know the vibe. Because I was thinking like, okay, we've got Subways, we've got Big Apple. Giants could be like Goliath or like something about the giant, what's his name? James and the giant. James? The one who climbs up the stalk. The beanstalk. Jack and the beanstalk. The Giants. That one I'm going to leave. So the Eagles already have the brotherly shove, which is perfect. I mean, that's what started this. Okay. The Commanders. I was thinking like, the Capitol. I jokingly said the Capitol rioters, but that was fully shot down by everybody I was with. So I think I'm going with the capital charge. That's good, right? The capital charge. What are we doing about the New York Giants? I mean, I thought like it could be like the Big Apple bump or something, but I just don't know if that's the right vibe for the. I just don't know. Or the Goliath stomp. The Goliath. I don't know. All right, if anybody has ideas. Okay, let's go on. NFC West. What are our teams in the NFC West? We have, I have a good one for this. I came up with the Arizona Cardinals because, you know, I lived in Arizona. So at first I was like, the Saguaro that I came up with. The Road Runner. Whoops. Ram. There really are road runners out there. But the problem is, then you have the next team is the Los Angeles Rams. So that's kind of weird. But I got stuck on Los Angeles. You know, it was like, okay, well, you could do Hollywood, but that's kind of dumb. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think on, because you already, like, maybe it should be Roadrunner Rush. Okay, all right, let's make this Roadrunner Rush. And then we can use Ram for the Rams. So maybe like, oh my God. So maybe Ram, Bam. Sorry. Thank you, ma'am. Time for the Ram, Bam. Thank you, ma'am. That might be my favorite one yet. Ram, Bam. Thank you, ma'am. That's probably not like going to play on NFL football. All right, then we have the 49ers, who are San Francisco. So I was trying to think, you know, 49ers like pan for gold and they bend over and pan. I was like, so you're bent over and you're panning the gold. So anyway, I ended up with like Golden Gate. Like Golden Gate. Well, I don't know if I love. The only thing I could think was Golden Gate. Oh gosh, what does that mean to my writing here? Golden Gate Glide? I don't know. Golden Gate Grunt? Golden Gate Gush? Golden Gate. Okay, this next team, I thought and I thought and I thought and I thought, and I just can't think of anything for the Seattle Seahawks. I went through. I just don't know. I kind of just landed on a Rainmaker, but I feel like that might already be something. I feel like that might be a play in football or something, the Rainmaker. So this one I'm stuck on. All right. Hold on. Let me get it. All right. So the ones that we're missing, really, definitely Seahawks. If anybody's got an idea for Seahawks. The New York Giants. I don't know how people are going to feel about the LA Rams. All right, so those are the ones so far we kind of got to keep thinking about. All right, I need a new sheet of paper. Did I get all these teams? Yeah. So now on to the AFC. All right, in the AFC North, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Now, everybody knows the ravens have crabs. I only say that because my sister's a Ravens fan, and we always tease each other. All right, so for the ravens, I was like, we got the Chesapeake Bay, we've got crabs. But since it's a raven, I feel like it's an Edgar Allan Poe, and their mascot's Poe. So how about just the Poe push? That seems logical. But you could definitely do a crab. A crab, they like walk sideways like a crab. What do they call that? Crabs. Also, when you go crabbing, I lived in Baltimore for a while. But we used to crab, and you take chicken necks and you tie them to a string and you throw them out, and then you slowly pull them up and you net the crabs. So you could call it like a chicken necking. But I think that's a little too obscure. Anyway, all right. I think Poe Push might work for them. And then you have the Bengals, which are Cincinnati's team. This one I was a little stuck on. I've ended up they're tigers. So I went with Tiger Pounce. But that sounds more like they're jumping up, you know? I mean, it could be like a tiger tumble, but that sounded too like they're just randomly falling. But they kind of are because they're pushing. They'll go. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe tumble. Or maybe, what else is Cincinnati known? Some of these I got a little stuck. Okay, Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I got really stuck on that one. Let's write the Browns down as we need help. I was thinking, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's there. So maybe a rock and roll. I don't know. It just didn't seem. And then I was thinking, there used to be that show, the Drew Carey show, and they'd say Cleveland Rocks. So I thought about just Cleveland Rocks. Like a Cleveland Rocks. Rock until you push them in. I'm going to go with that, but I am up for changing it. Cleveland Rocks. And then in the AFC North, there's the Steelers. Now, this one was kind of one of the first ones that made me think of this, because I think they should be the steel beam. And I was demonstrating the steel beam. And people didn't go for it the way I did. But I still think it's good. I think the steel beam. Okay. AFC South. We have the Texans. Now, the Texans, they have the Cowboys and the Texans. Now, what did I end up doing with the Cowboys? Lone Star Lunge. All right, we're changing this one to, because I realized the Texans, I had kind of the same thing. All right, let's let's make the Cowboy something cowboy related. The lasso. How about the lasso? Is that how you spell lasso? Lunge. How about the lasso lunge? Okay. Or the pinto. Like a horse with the polka dots. Spotted horse is called a pinto. The pinto push. Or that's so far off. The cowboy hat. Cowboy 10-gallon. Ooh. Aren't cowboy hats called like 10-gallon hats? Or is that wrong? Like the 10-gallon. All right, this one we're still thinking on, because I realized I used the same. I used for Texans Lone Star, but I put Lone Star Launch instead of lunch. But I feel like the Texans are more Lone Star than the Cowboys for some reason. All right, let's do lasso, lunge, and Lone Star launch. That feels more aggressive, doesn't it? I think that's right. Okay. All right, we've got the Indianapolis Colts. So we could do a horsey kind of thing, but I was thinking Indianapolis are the Hoosiers. So I think the obvious answer is the Hoosier Hustle. That felt right. Okay, we've got the Jaguars. I am completely stuck on that team. I don't know. I'm really stuck on that one. Because I already used Pounce on the the Tigers for the Bengals. But maybe it's got to be Jaguars, Pounce, and this is something else. Or maybe they can be the same. I don't know. All right, we've got the Titans, which is Tennessee, but it's really Nashville. So I was thinking about Nashville, and they're Music City. So I was kind of thinking it, but I don't know if this is right. I was kind of thinking Music City Mash, but then I started thinking about the country vibe of it, and I think I like, this one might be a step too far, but the boot, how do you spell scootin'? Is it C? Whoops, it's probably C. Boot scootin' slide. I don't know, the boot scootin' surge. Boot scootin' surge? Boot scootin' slide. Slide makes more sense because it's like you're just sliding in. Boot scootin' boogie. Okay, so I started with Music City Mash. I've now decided I like this better. All right, where are we? So north, south. We need the east. A, F, C, east. All right, guys. I did a video on which teams are in which, if you're curious. All right, we've got the Bills, which is Buffalo, which is Niagara Falls. So I was thinking about just calling it Niagara Falls. Are you guys familiar with the old Abbott and Costello routine where every time he says Niagara Falls, he goes, slowly I turn, step by step. That's what I always think of. Or like Niagara Surge. Or Niagara. Like they're so powerful. Niagara Falls are so powerful. How do I capture that? Niagara Crusher. Niagara Crush. How about, that doesn't really make sense, does it? Niagara Crush. Niagara Crush. Niagara Falls. Niagara Surge. It's Niagara. Niagara Crush. I mean, there's no N word. Let's make it rhymey. Niagara. Nosh. No. Niagara. I think Surge. Falls. Is it better to just call it Niagara Fall? How about Niagara Fall without the S? They're going to do the Niagara Fall. They're going to go for a Niagara Fall. That makes it sound almost like they didn't mean it. They're going to go for a Niagara Surge. I think I'm with Surge. Okay. And then we have the Miami Dolphins. The only thing I could think with them was like sunshine. So I was thinking the Sunshine Slam. Like, stick it where the sun don't shine slam. What? That's not right. Okay. I think I have a good one for this. Okay. The Patriots. They're New England. So I was thinking for them, the Revolutionary Roll. Right? Revolutionary Ram Roll. Revolutionary roll. I had roll, but now I'm wondering. Hold on, let me think. Revolutionary road. No, Revolutionary Road. They're gonna take the Revolutionary Road. Does that mean the same thing? Revolutionary roll. I think we'll go with roll. I also thought about doing something like nor'easter, like a nor'easter slam or something. But once I hit revolutionary, I was like, oh, it's gotta be it. All right, this is the New York Jets again. Stuck. I just don't know. Like I thought, like Subway Slam or something like that. But like I said, I just am a little confused on what their vibe is. Are they New York City? Are they New Jersey more? Like, is Subway, like, I'm not familiar with that whole area. But I had considered Subway Slam, but that just didn't feel right at all. It feels wrong. I don't know. All right, what are we left with? AFC West. Okay, in this one we have Broncos. Now they're in Colorado, in the Mile High City. So that seemed simple enough. The Mile High Heave. That seems perfect, right? The Chiefs, they already have it. They have the Tush Push. I think it started with them. Maybe I'm wrong about that. It was the first time I ever heard it was in relation to them. So, the Raiders are Las Vegas. So, I had fun thinking about that one. I was like, it could be a gambling reference. It could be a like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But I started thinking about it being called Sin City. So I think I'm going to go with Sin City Slam. So that just leaves us the Chargers. Now, I didn't know much about the Chargers. So I was looking at the, just kind of looking them up to see if I could think of anything about them. But they've got the lightning, bolt as their helmet thing. So I went with lightning strike. I think that's pretty good for them. Lightning strike. And if they don't use it for a tush push move, they should use it for something. And maybe they do. Maybe I just don't know. All right, so the ones that I'm kind of really stuck on are Seahawks, New York Giants, Browns, Jaguars, and the Jets. So here we go. Was that too silly? Maybe. Do I care? Maybe. Hopefully, I'll start hearing these in use so I don't have to hear the words tush push 500 times during a game. I promise you, if somebody comes out and says Motor City Rollover, I'm going to be like, what? I said that. That's mine. The Po Push. The Slam Bam, thank you, ma'am. The Southern Slam. How about the Southern Comfort? That could be funny. They're going to give them a little Southern Comfort. The Ahoy Matey. Ahoy Matey. I used to do it like this, but I think it's more like that. Have the wrong movement. The Capital Charge. Roadrunner Rush. I like that. Motor City Rollover Attacks. Boots, Scoot, and Slide. Revolutionary Roll. Revolutionary Road. Revolutionary. Anyway. Oh yeah, and the Vikings Siege. Actually, I think that's growing on me now. I think I like that. I wanted something that didn't use their name, but I don't know. If you have a better one for Vikings, I don't know. And the Bengals. Let's see. Cincinnati. I don't know. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Charge, Roadrunner Rush, Ram Bam, thank you ma'am, Golden Gate Glide, know about that one, Push, Tiger, Pounce, Cleveland Rocks, Steel Beam, Lone Star Launch, the Hoosier Hustle, Boot Scoot and Slide, Niagara Surge, Niagara Falls, Niagara Fall, Niagara Push, Sunshine Slam, Revolutionary Roll, Mile High Heave, Sin City Slam, Lightning Strike,